For countless years, people have used silver and gold as their primary currency. And over those years, some of it was lost, stashed, or otherwise taken and hidden from history. These are the stories of America's buried treasures in your neck of the woods. Today's treasure tale takes us to Trinity County, California, for the story of an Indian cache of settlers' riches. In 1849, gold was discovered at Sutter's Mill, California, and the California Gold Rush began. Thousands of settlers and new immigrants raced to the area to stake claims and strike it rich. As more and more people arrived, it started to affect the local Native Americans who had lived here for thousands of years. It's said to have started off simple enough as an Indian stealing some livestock, likely to feed his own family. When the whites moved in the area, they devastated the local deer and elk population the Indians relied on to feed themselves and their families. Over the years, it became known as the Indian Wars. In Trinity County, California, there's a legend that the local Native Americans had created a treasure cave of all the goods they had looted during the wars. Today it's known as Del Loma Cave, a 28-mile-long natural cave system in the coastal range on the New River. Back then, the cave had two entrances. One was a hidden entrance the Indians used to access the cave on the river on the ledge above. The other entrance was better known, at the base of the mountain. During the Indian Wars of the 1850s, the miners and settlers were menaced by hostile Indians who were trying to stop the white man's drive to the west. The Native Americans would attack mining camps and wagons passing through. The Indian tribes had banded together to stop their advance at any cost. The Indians slaughtered as many as they could. The victims often were chosen due to their isolation. In the Old West, there really was strength in numbers. The dead were looted of their riches, weapons, whiskey, and livestock. The livestock and whiskey were consumed by the tribes. They stockpiled the extra weapons, gold and silver, in Del Loma Cave, where they could also hide out from the soldiers trying to track them down. The Indians attacked again, but this time soldiers were able to track them back to their cave fortress. The plan was to wait and starve them out. An Indian scout working for the army told the officer in charge about the second entrance. The soldiers were ordered to dynamite the other entrance to seal the Indians in. Soldiers at the other entrance built up a defense to keep the Indians trapped inside. The army encamped outside the entrance. They planned to just wait and starve them into submission, while small skirmishes would break out, with the Indians trying to see if the whites had left. Ultimately, the Native Americans chose to starve rather than surrender to the army and be shipped to a reservation on land far away from their way of life. The soldiers waited 2 weeks for the natives to surrender before orders were given to pack up and move to another problem in the area. Once again, soldiers rigged the entrance and dynamited the last entrance closed, sealing the Indians in and all the treasures they had cached inside. With the cave sealed, the army moved on, and the settlers and miners rode off the stolen weapons and gold, knowing it was easier to just replace things and go back to work. The gold was easier to find in any local creek than to risk opening up the mountain to a possible hornet's nest. The cave was soon forgotten until 1948, when a guy named Charles Erftenbeck heard the tale of the Del Loma Cave lost plunder. Charles became intrigued and convinced some friends for the first real exploration of the cave. While searching the system of tubes through the rock, at one point they found a small opening only a person of small frame could pass through. Charles, being the smallest, squeezed through the opening to a large cavern that seemed to stretch for miles. For fear of cave-ins, Charles resorted to just exploring the immediate area. On the floor, just inside the hole he had squeezed through, lay 2 old cap and ball pistols. Charles grabbed the pistols and wiggled his way back through the opening, convinced he had found the Del Loma Cave lost plunder. Charles later returned to widen the opening so he and some friends could enter and explore the cavern. While searching, they began to be overcome by a strong odor. They tracked the smell back to a pool of gasoline. Charles then realized that had he been wearing his old carbide flame flashlight, he'd probably be dead, as the fumes alone would have ignited, blowing up the cave. Charles and his friends stopped, now knowing that the cave had been booby-trapped, and to proceed could cost them more than they were willing to pay that day. The men were concerned that someone would murder them to prevent the cave's exploration, thinking it was probably local Indians trying to intimidate or kill them to keep the cave a secret. Charles returned to the cave in 1950 with better lighting and climbing equipment, but he found the entrance had been dynamited shut. Charles was convinced the local Indians were still watching over the cave, protecting the final resting place of their ancestors. Charles Erftenbeck conceded, ending the search, respecting what he thought were the Indians' wishes. Today, Del Loma Cave is about 30 miles drive outside Weaverville, California, on U.S. Highway 299, near a rocky ledge on New River. Who knows? There's been a lot of rain in the West over the years. Who knows what erosion may have done to the upper elusive entrance, where the Native Americans used to enter. If someone could find and enter the cave, who knows what might be found? Guns, gold, silver, and likely the warriors who chose death over the reservation. If you're into ghosts and gold, this is your story. Good luck, happy hunting, and keep on digging it. Please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. Hit that notification button to follow me on YouTube. Thanks for stopping in. Hope you enjoyed. Good luck, happy hunting, keep on digging it. For even more to explore, check out these other videos.